Okay, welcome to our Round the Clock Trader short interviews. I'm delighted to have Ioannis Kantartzis with me, and it's Simon Campbell here from Round the Clock Trader. So, thank you for joining us, Ioannis. It's good to see you, and I'm sure we've tested the mic so we can hear okay. We have shared history, Ioannis. We're not strangers. We've worked together over the years. In fact, we have quite a similar background. We both sort of did education, university in the UK, and then further education, masters and things in Spain. You were in Madrid, and I did an MBA in Barcelona, and then we've gone on to both work for Traders Magazine over periods and work in the city and the financial institutions over the years. So our lives have touched over the years, so it's great to reconnect with you, and I'm really excited to have Ioannis here because Ioannis is now providing his own mentoring after years of supporting institutions and financial brokers and banks to help train up the force and actually trading as well. I guess you're trading full time yourself, but you're also providing services to retail traders to become financially independent through trading.
Yes, that's very true. Well, pretty much everything you said. Thank you very much for the invitation to start with, Simon, and it's lovely to get back connected after all these years. As you said, we kind of involved ourselves in the English version of Traders Magazine back in 2012, I believe it was, or 13. So right. It's, I still run the Spanish edition, a few of issues you can see on the background, and it's still a lovely journey. But in these past 10 years or so, I've been fine-tuning all the educational, trading, and anything that comes around in this fantastic world of investing. So pretty happy to be here with you today and share a little bit of knowledge and expertise.
Well, it is great, and I'm excited as well because you're going to take part in our online Round the Clock Trader Summit, which takes place in March, and hopefully we'll be able to get you across to London at the end of April for the IX Investor Trader Show. You, like me, have come into contact with, let's say, hundreds of successful traders over the years. I know you've interviewed many yourself. You've worked with many, so it gives you a pretty good idea of what it takes to sort of succeed in trading. Everybody will know there's no one size fits all. There's no one absolute system that will work for everybody in every market in every time frame. That doesn't exist. But is there something? I mean, in terms of people getting started out in trading, what would you say the best first steps are, or the first things that people should maybe avoid looking at? Any tips for beginners, first of all?
Yeah, well, that's a common question, as you might imagine, Simon, and I think a very tough one to answer because, there is such an ample room of, go on talking for hours about that if I was to narrow it down to a few bits and pieces of advice, if I may, following my 25 years being in this business, because it has been business for me, as you said, going out of the universities in Birmingham, in Madrid, and other certifications that we needed to do our business, properly. Then it's like we've seen crises spanning from Asian Tigers 1997 to dot-com bubble 2000, Enron scandal, terrorist attacks, planes crashing into Twin Towers, Lehman Brothers, COVID, you name it. The world is not the way we knew it before. So this has actually helped me understand that it's not just one thing that you should go by and abide by, better said, like a Bible, so like technical analysis or fundamental or product list, but definitely the way forward is going through continuous education, right? So I would have to be saying things and sound like a broken record because capital management, risk management, psychology, all that is really important. But then again, thousands of books are talking about the same thing. So I guess is the best piece of advice is don't rush into creating wealth for yourself and your family, because there are plenty of obstacles up there, and obviously this is not a straight line towards success. So if you make any mistakes, and you will make a lot, and I think it's best that you make a lot of mistakes with a little money at the beginning, because these will be the same mistakes with a lot of money down the road. So it's better that you learn with a little money. Don't be afraid to take risks, to make mistakes, as long as they're calculated and you make something out of them. So it's one thing to say, I've invested $2,000 and I bought the euro dollar on someone that, went on CNBC and spoke about a potential upside, and then I lost all of it, which is okay. If you lose all of it, no matter how incongruous as it might sound, it's all right for me, because you learn from that. If you haven't learned anything, you just follow the tipster, then that's very bad, because you lost your money and gained nothing as knowledge.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, so you're not actually learning if you're just taking the signals and things. You don't know the reason behind it. Why is it a signal to buy and sell? So it's important to learn.
I think at the end of the day, Simon, if I may, psychological traits, what we call behavioral finance, is really important, because you will find out that the reason why you sell at the bottom and you buy at the tops, or you buy at the false breakouts, or you consistently fail to overperform the index, or why your stop losses are always hit or not hit because they are too far away, all of these are just because based on human psychology. The fact that you can punish yourself and you try to hide all your mistakes under the carpet. The fact that you can't put the blame on you, but rather you put it on anybody else. The market, the money, your mother, your father, whoever that is in front of you. So before you dive into different products, whether options that I use, or you like the long term with equities, or technical analysis is for you, or fusion analysis, so fundamentals and technical and everything like that, you really have to take a good dip into yourself and try to find out what is my risk level. Don't look at the good result where I make money. Try to find out, what if you lose money? How much can you afford to lose, and for how long? And, just one last thing, in order for you to have the overperformance that Warren Buffett achieves, or other gurus of the kind of the likes, you have to be able to absorb the interim volatility that more often than not comes in double digits. So,
good point. And I'm amazed that after 20 years in this business plus, I have never heard the phrase fusion analysis, but it's a perfect description of combining the fundamental and the technical.
Exactly. I'm not the one who coined that phrase, but yes, I'm one who has gone by it for the past few decades, to be honest.
And on that point, then, do you place any more weight on? I mean, for example, when the Fed reports, the FOMC, the Bank of England, are these events that you will prepare for to trade, or do you prefer to look at the more regular routine trading days?
Well, my Yeah, I'm sorry for that. So my style is really, to put it in a nutshell, to care for the medium to long term, in the sense that I like to hold shares for the long term. Good companies who pay dividends, or at least they have positive dividend policy along the years. We don't have lots of debt, and if they do, they have cash to back it up, and they are like big capitalization, things like that. So in a diversified portfolio, I like that. But as you know, I'm also very much into options trading. And as an options trader, and it's been years and years that I've been doing that, I'm not taking directional bets necessarily in the markets. It's okay to have a bias, but that's not called a directional bet. It's not one thing to say this will go up, and a thing to say this will not go down. So these are two different strategies that allow me to take advantage of the statistics. And to answer your question directly, no, I don't like to trade the first decision, because Powell does move the market. And S&P, which is the market for me, I don't trade, the Greek market or the English market, because you mentioned Bank of England, or the Japanese market. I do trade only the, S&P, Nasdaq, and Russell, because I think these are the markets. And of course, that doesn't mean that, that doesn't have a spillover effect in all these other developed markets. But if you trade the markets, then options is the way to go forward. Loads of liquidity. You should avoid earnings results, dividend announcements, Fed's whimsical reports before and after these, rates increases. Yeah. So these are events that you don't need to be in there, because they create noise. And there are substantial opportunities before and after those, not during those. For a trader who doesn't want so actively to do. I mean, if I were a market maker, I would die for these events. Like Tesla the other day, who had all these bidding on the call options, for those who are familiar with these. And it looked like, the implied volatility for these options were really very high, meaning that people were actually very much into this. But that's like going into the nitty-gritty. For the average investor who is looking to create a passive income, if I may, with strategies that would give him 4 out of 5 scenarios positive, so all he needs to do is monitor the 5th scenario that would try to break the bank, then all I have to say is that the options is the only way forward.
That's very interesting. So I mean, forgive me, but the options, and I think I'm not alone here, certainly in the UK, there's always been a perception that options are complicated. And this was something, when spread betting arrived almost 20 years ago, it sort of became the UK, the go-to. But I'm hearing more and more about options, because there's a little bit of, I think, again, the perceptions have changed, and spread betting is now, people understand that it's using leverage, and people are getting themselves into trouble if they're not using it wisely. And of course, it's not the same sort of leverage now there. Is it, I mean, are options available to the average investor? Are they suitable for people to get started? And can it be simple enough for someone that doesn't have a financial background to be able to grasp some of these systems? Because what you're saying in terms of laying a strategy where 4 out of 5 scenarios will play out in a positive way is sounds fantastic. But it's, do you need, I mean, you've got decades of experience trading options. How long would it take, for example, an average investor to get there? Yeah.
Well, for starters, getting married is also complicated, Simon. So we all do it more or less at some point in our lives. So I think learning options is definitely an easier and a great thing to know about how to navigate in rough waters. So options are for everyone. Yes, they are for everyone, because options, the underlying, can be everything from the acidity of the orange juice to stocks, ETFs, indices, crypto, and anything that you can trade, right? So options, they're not that straightforward as a CFD or even a futures trading, where it only goes up and down. It has a certain degree of understanding of leverage and margin. But as you say, we've come a long way. I guess 17 years since we started promoting CFDs actively. As you know, I've done that for my time in London at CMC Markets and selling across the globe and teaching people how to trade CFDs and what they are. But that's what I've been doing for the institutional part when I did my time at Citi, and we were doing structural options on foreign exchange for institutions that time. And although I cater for information towards retail, I've done also the same for institutions along my career. And I can tell you that if you teach people not using math, because you don't have to be a math whiz, contrary to what many people might believe, Simon, to trade options and learn options. You're not going to be a market maker on options. You don't need to. You just need to understand how you can use them to your advantage and not fall into the same mistakes that 95% of novices and professionals alike make. Because when you drive a car, you don't care how the car is made. You actually care how to drive it properly. So that's what we teach people. We teach you how to drive the car in every situation: snow, rain, come sunshine, and anything in between.
Well, I mean, you've just touched on the fact that you teach people. Can we just ask you what format the courses take that you offer? Because I know that you offer a few channels. You've got a very popular YouTube channel. You've got your website, Kantartzis.com. And we've talked already about I think it's almost a 2-day course, is it, that you offer?
Well, it used to be a 2-day course in the pre-COVID era where people, we were allowed to show up in a room and stay with a lecturer for a weekend. It has taken bone and flesh like in the past 2.5 years via webinars, so people can get the recorded sessions as well. And these are pretty nice to have for life, because then you can go over the material. Because as you know, the human brain only absorbs 18% of what you tell them at the moment. The rest 82 is left or to be discovered via, the recorded seminar. So that's what I found very helpful for people who do my seminar, which actually spreads over few evenings, is about 14 hours, 1/4. And we go through diversification and, portfolio management, risk adjustment and all that. And what the history teaches us, and the way I use the technical analysis to the extent that I can, have good setups. And then I go into futures just to understand how leverage works and how combined futures with options, they can help us achieve the results we want. To go for about 85% of the seminar and explain the options from scratch, and I mean it from scratch, because I have to make sure that, financial illiteracy for some who have gone into the website or some books that a friend has recommended is not going to be an obstacle for you to understand exactly from zero to hero how they work. Because if you start from zero and understand exactly what they look like, the probabilities, the statistics, without knowing any math really, because I make it very easy for people to understand. At least that's what students of mine tell me. And I've been teaching into schools and colleges in Greece and abroad for the past 20 years. So they have helped me understand that no matter how difficult it is, there is a way to actually get people around it without using the mathematics and the complex, things they are behind. If you want, you can go deeper. But if you don't want, the hundreds of students that have gone through this surveys and educational process are actually now doing trades for themselves. They understand how the market works, the contrarian thinking, the macro perspective, and all that help them take informed decisions. And options are there to actually tell you, it's all about weighing the probabilities, taking advantage of what the market inefficiencies are, and reading the option chain. And that has little to do with the graph or the moving averages, although we do use them, but it has to do with everything in this fashion of this fusion analysis that we spoke about before.
I like it. I like the fact that what's coming across to me is that in this course, you're not going to be taught everything there is about the whole options industry and the financial markets. You're only probably going to focus on the stuff that you need to know about, which is going to be enough for you to be able to understand how you can take some money out of the market using options as a tool to do it, which I guess is what people want and need. They don't need to be confused by all the noise.
It's snackable, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of the lifestyle that you try to get people towards. What, as an options trader, what kind of lifestyle would they expect in terms of work put in on a daily basis? Are you going to sit for 3 or 4 hours in front of the computer, or?
Yeah, that's another misperception, because when people come to myself or any other esteemed educator, Simon, the point is to set them free from what they're doing now. So there's no point to add them yet another monitor on their desk and another few graphs and another headache. That's not the point. I wouldn't be here talking to you from a sun-soaked office in Greece at the moment. And if I had to spend nights and countless hours analyzing, yes, if you trade intraday options and if you do other strategies, of course, you will be required to be in front of a screen many hours. But the way I teach options is for them to take advantage of the volatility selling strategies, of the risk management that has to be set in stone for you, so that you monitor your trades maybe half an hour a day, but then along the week, you probably do nothing. You don't need to adjust anything, because the time value element of options, as time goes by, they lose value. That's why we call them wasting assets, will be working in your favor. And, because of the mean reversion quality that underlying assets have, Simon, if something goes up, will go down a little bit before it resumes its trend, unless we are in a super bullish or super bearish markets, which doesn't happen often. The financial assets will tend to revert to their mean, especially when they do spikes up or down. They will go back to their mean. So that means your options will expire close to worthless, which means that you will get all the money collected up front in your pocket. And that happens 4 out of 5 times in a 3 to 4 week cycle. And if you master these things and know the risk management and never go astray, then definitely you have something powerful in your hands. Then the psychology also comes for that fifth situation that you need to hedge. Nothing is ideal. I'm not presenting the Holy Grail, and thank God I'm close to my 50s and I still have some hair left, which means not too much stress there with the gamma explosion and the meme stocks. But I think I have found an edge after all these years to use some strategies in the options gamut that really help you go away from the stressful and everyday, peg to a monitor type of trading.
And it's where a lot of people would like to go in terms of that story, because you've traded all sorts of different assets, settled on options because it gives you what you want. It doesn't involve a stressful day. It's not sort of placing trades for 15-minute intervals. It sounds very good. And we were just sort of wrapping up out of our time limit. In terms of taking next steps, people, I already mentioned at the outset that you're taking part in our Round the Clock Trader Summit. It's a 2-day online trading summit. You're going to put together something for us. They're around about a sort of a 1-hour presentation, which
yes, very much looking forward to that, Simon. And actually, I will show the 3 strategies that I am actually using to provide, the peace of mind that I spoke about, obviously with the bits and pieces that you need when things do go bad, because things will go bad. So that's a certainty. You just need to know how to, master this. Like a friend says, it's not about, the bad weather. It's about the clothes that you need to put on in the bad weather.
I love these metaphors. They're fantastic. Well, that will be great. So I mean, that's a chance. If you can join us live, March the 22nd, 23rd, we will be giving that, and that'll be like a little preview taste, I guess, of what your mentoring program would include. So we'll look forward to that. If people want to get in touch with you, though, between now and then, where is the best place for them to go? There's obviously...
Well, I would say obviously my personal website. I'm not sure if you can provide the links below, but the personal website is a good starting point. It's ikantartzis.com, like from Ioannis. And then the YouTube, Ioannis.Kantartzis, also the same on my Instagram. I do post things when I have to say interesting things, and I think there are interesting things there for someone to follow, like from the yield curve and the impact on the market to contrarian thinking and how I use technical analysis, and that would be a good starting point.
Fantastic. We will post these links as well. They'll be in everybody does that, don't they? Because the links will be
like a small hand doing that.
We'll look forward to that. Ioannis, it's been really, really good to catch up with you. I'm really glad we've reconnected again after some years. excited about all the training and the events that we're going to do together. And thank you very much indeed for giving us your time this morning. And we'll look forward to doing it again at the Round the Clock Trader 2-day summit, but we get a bit more time and actually start to learn more about way to trade options. So thank you very much, Ioannis Kantartzis. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Simon.